we actually rescued it from a scrapyard where it was about to get sawn to pieces. The bus was only £1,300, and then got it shipped over on a lorry. The fact that it doesn't move changed the brief for us, in terms of we didn't need to get everything on this sort of rolling house, and that meant that we didn't need to have a toilet inside, we didn't need to have the shower inside, so we could put things like that outside, and then that left us a lot more scope just to make a really nice open space. Sort of being on a farm, we sort of set ourselves the brief of, could we try and do this kind of hybrid design between sort of a traditional farmhouse features, such as shaker kitchen, and give it a very sort of farmhousey cabiny feel, but also we were really conscious that we wanted the bus to still feel very much like a bus. When we went to look at it, actually it was this roof was one of the reasons that we sort of chose the bus, because we just thought it was really nice. It had this nice shiny quality, and was something that we actually didn't need to change. So we've kind of got this split level design where we kept the upper tier completely original, with all the original lights, all of the original, annoyingly, CCTV cameras that are anti-tamper, so we couldn't get rid of those without having to hit them with a hammer. And then we've kept other original features, sort of chair, steering wheel, which are kind of almost wasted space. We're not sure if there's something we want to do with it that might be more practical, but at the same time it's quite fun just having those original bus features. One of the big challenges of the bus was being a normal commuter bus, was that it's got the disabled access at the front, which meant that we had this split tier. So there were all these raises in these level changes in the bus, which we started as a challenge, but ended up being something that really started to help us define the different spaces within the bus that we wanted to create: kitchen, lounge, dining, bedroom, and then sort of arrival space. We've got these massive wheel arches, which you can see the profile here. So as opposed to this being a higher bus where we sort of sit above the wheels, or small wheel arches, these really took up a huge amount of space. So we had to build this cupboard in around to hide the wheel arch, but managed to get our drawers flowing on the top, and then managed to retain some of the storage space just in here on top of that, and butcher the carcass of that kitchen to get that in. And then this space here, we thought it'd be really nice just to have a nice sort of low area where we could just come in. It's where we sort of throw our keys, put fruit bowls, some food, and just sort of little welcome hamper. It's a really useful piece of space. So as you come through, something we really wanted, sort of going back to the farmhouse feel, was to have a nice big Belfast sink, and that has proved like so useful. It's really deep, so that the splashes of water don't come flying out and get over the wooden worktops. And then we built our tap out of copper pipe, which was a nice feature, we think. We haven't got hot water running straight in. We've kept it as simple as possible, really. So we only have cold water coming in, and then if you want to wash up, we boil the kettle. Over here, we've got our fridge freezer, which is an underslung fridge freezer, sort of full size. We're not compromising on how much space we wanted, so we can get a load of food and beers, etc. in there. Here we've got two gas burner glass plate hob, and then all the drawers underneath which keep utensils, and then we've got storage down here for pots and pans and stuff like that. Tray space, herb rack, and then over here more storage for food, pots and pans and other kitchen stuff. Sort of going back to the open feel, we didn't want to have wall cabinets, and we loved all the windows that we had running through. So it was really sort of important when we were designing it not to start to build bulk up on the sides. We wanted to keep it as open as possible, so we used the same beach block worktops that we cut down to make these open shelves that run along. And these all run on the trajectory of these upper windows, so that line carries on all the way through the bus. You can see the blinds also hang to that level, so you've got this really nice sleek line running along. The only issue with that is that you have to be nice and neat and tidy, and buy matching plates. So yeah, so I think that's the kitchen, and then Just the other thing is coat hangers as you come in, so you can hang your coats up. So coming through, this is the lounge area. So we've got this nice step up, which again, as I said, was kind of a challenge to start with, working out how that was going to be, but it ended up making this really nice, slightly raised space. And the other benefit is just the ceiling height you get with a city bus. You can stand up throughout the whole bus, which is really nice. So this is a really simple area. We used these kitchen cabinets and just led them on the side so that the storage goes back all the way underneath that sofa. They're 500mm wide, so we've got a 2-metre sofa, and then we've got a custom built cushion to go on top of there. And then the flooring is just simple tongue and groove pine flooring, and then just all along the sides we took the original cladding of the bus off, and then boxed that out, put insulation in, and then just used a bead and butt type effect to MDF. So that comes as a massive board of bead and butt style, and you just sit that on. So that allowed us to just clad all of that really quickly, really simply. We do, as I showed, have these lights working, just the original lights, although they don't give off the nicest lights. So we've brought in our own sort of feature lights here with the copper, which matches the tap. So we wanted to keep that theme running through. One of my favourite features of the bus is this fireplace. So it's a little 5kW fire. It's quite small, but it burns beautiful, brings a good temperature into the bus, gets us really toasty and cosy in here. We looked at venting the chimney out the window, but wanted to have this feature chimney running up through. So cutting this through the roof was a bit of a challenge, but I was really pleased with actually how that came out. And then to sit this on, we didn't, obviously can't sit it on the timber, so we actually just built some shutters and just made a concrete mix and just poured in situ concrete. So we've just got this nice concrete slab that sits on, which we think looks really nice actually. We're very pleased with how that finished. One of the things we knew we wanted to do was have keep it open but split between the bedroom and the lounge, so that you felt like you're transitioning into a different space. So we put these up. These aren't structural, but these just sort of create this nice doorway that you can walk through as you come through into the bedroom. And then we put these little sideboards here, just so you've got these extra shelves. And one thing you don't have a lot of in a bus is shelf space generally, or places to display pictures. So it's really nice just to bring some of these personal elements in, and places just to put pictures, books, etc. And then the bed, we've got a back door there that's the original emergency exit. So we did think about having the bed all to one side, which you see quite often in schoolies, but decided we just wanted to make this really nice big grand statement bedroom that just looks straight down. So you're sort of king of the castle when you're up in the bed. And then again, we've used sort of matching cabinets but painted a different colour. So we've got storage running all the way under the bed where we keep all of our clothes. We've got these big sideboards here which you can put stuff on while you're in bed. And then we've got these little lights as well, which just sort of add a little je ne sais quoi to the space. The only place where we've got blackout curtains, because curtains, we realised, not within our budget. Curtaining an entire bus is extremely expensive. You've probably got more window space in here than you do in most average size houses. So we decided that actually we'd just have blackout curtains around the bedroom, so you can completely cocoon yourself in the bedroom, and then put this on. This is a copper pipe, I think it's just 12mm copper pipe, and then we could fix that up with these lovely little brass fittings, and just create this continual curtain rail that runs all the way around the bed. In terms of getting power to the bus, as it's stationary, we did look at doing solar panels, but in the UK, one thing we don't have in abundance is sunshine. So it kind of meant through the winter that we'd be really struggling to generate enough power in order to power the fridge in particular. And it also as the bus doesn't move, we don't have any recharging potential, so that we're not going to be able to charge electricity up. So we actually run a cable up from our farm sheds. So the bus is kind of on an umbilical cord essentially, where we have water and power running up from the sheds about 100 meters away, and then we use sustainable energy supplier so that we kind of feel that it's still essentially sustainable, and so we're just using another company's solar panels. And then water, again, is just mains water, so we get really good water pressure up here, which is great. So I think the next thing to do is show you outside the bus, and you can come and take a look at our shower and toilet unit. We decided that we'd build this sort of glamping type shower unit, so we've raised it up and put it on skids so that it doesn't have any foundations. We didn't need to do any digging or do any structural damage to the ground. And then in here we have Shower King glamping shower. So this is gas powered, so we have a LPG gas canister behind there, and then you just run the pressure through. It's really nice getting to shower outside with a view. So this was one of the bits, whilst I sort of taught myself the carpentry that I needed to learn inside, doing the electrics was one thing where we got in a proper electrician who knew exactly what he was doing. We sort of ran all the wires and worked out where we wanted to have all of the power points and plugs and fridge, etc. inside, and then got the professional to wire it in. But we've got a fuse box here, and then this is just your standard I think sort of campsite plug-in that you'd get for any kind of RV. Would I recommend converting a bus into a tiny home for those thinking of doing it? Yes, absolutely. I'd say take the plunge. I think it's one of those things that you don't need to know the skills before you do it. You can do it on any kind of budget. We managed to convert this for £12,000, so you can be thrifty along the way. You'll learn so many new skills that are applicable to all sorts of life, and you end up with something you love living in, and something you can be truly proud of. We decided to site the bus in a really sort of secluded corner on the farm, so you got this really nice sense of tranquility, in this sense of being sort of separate from the hustle and bustle of life. We sited the bus between two blocks of woodland, so whilst we kind of knew we were sacrificing views out, we get this lovely sort of wash of green out of all the windows, and the trees provide natural screening from the elements and the rain, and sort of provide that additional bit of insulation that we wanted, and sitting in the shade of the trees you get this lovely shade, and it keeps the bus cool, and also provided a really lovely space where we could make these little garden spaces. So we've managed to put in a pallet seat which sort of acts as our outside lounge and eating area. We've also managed to put a hammock up between two of the trees, which is just a lovely spot to go and sit and read. So yeah, we're really pleased with how the bus is bedded into the landscape. So yeah, that's my bus, my tiny living life, which has started. Thank you.